So there was some talk about the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who had gotten some attention 3 or 4 months ago. He appeared on Glenn Greenwald. He was part of a committee inside the House that was questioning Mayorkas, not Mayorka, Mayorkas. I love Mayorka, but I don't like Mayorkas.
No relation.
He was part of the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, who had hired Nita Jankowicz to lead another division of the Disinformation Board and whatnot. But the censorship that was coming, we have the whole case, Missouri versus Biden, and he had questioned Mayorkas about who decides what is free speech or not. And so it was looking like this guy was for freedom of speech. But if you go back and you see what a cucked guy, what he is to Israel, let me say this off the bat. If you're going to be pro-Zionist, you're not for freedom of speech, because you will be for those anti-BDS laws, which is a censorship of our speech. It is, trying to 86 or censor conversations or discussions you don't like. That's not being a free speech absolutist. So he proved it to us on that. We also see right here, as he went to the Republican Jewish Conference, the leadership committee in Vegas, fam, that was over the weekend, where Donald Trump, of course, appeared. Mike Pence appeared to drop out of the race, but Donald Trump, who we thought maybe there was some cracks in the armor over there or dinks in the armor, because Netanyahu was the first to congratulate Joe Biden during the 2020 election, and Donald Trump said Hezbollah is very smart. They're very smart. We thought maybe there was like, okay, is this guy going to be better on Israel than he was before? Did they piss him off? No, he showed up and was like, our beautiful, beautiful Israel, So, I mean, they're all sellouts to the Israeli lobby. But here is that Speaker of the House, who we thought might have provided some daylight and would be a good speaker of sorts in certain areas, showing that not only is he against it, he is against freedom of speech because he's pro-Israel, but he's also pro-Ukrainian as well. Let's go ahead and roll this. I have to roll it on my end? Hold on. No, you're going back. Go back one. Let me play it. No, you got to roll it on your end.
I never thought he was going to be good.
You're going to have to roll it on your end.
I never thought he was going to be good. The guy's in.
You're going to have to keep going forward. I have to find the video because I don't have a link for it.
What do you? It's in there. It's in the slide.
Okay, but keep going. I gotta get the link for it before I can roll it. So just keep going.
Oh, you can't roll it right from the slide?
Not the way it's set up right now. No, I can't. Well, we'll talk about it later. But just go ahead and move forward. I'll get the link and set it up and then bring it in. Okay.
Okay. Then let me go over here. I thought you can roll it right from there. We got to figure that out. So the Center for Constitutional Rights condemns the House vote on anti-BDS resolution. This is something, fam, I want to talk about for a while, because it's something that hasn't got enough attention, because it's more than just saying I stand for Israel. It's more about censorship of speech, right? Because if you're saying that if somebody is not allowed to boycott or divest from another country and you're going to punish them for that, or if you have to speak, you have to sign something that you're against the BDS movement, that's an infringement on our speech. So all these right-wing populists who are I'm for freedom and property rights, where you at? You're not for property rights because you're okay with Israel removing people from their land, and you're not for freedom of speech because you're supporting the Israeli lobby and censoring our voices and our choices. Today's vote on H.R. 246 exposes, fam, the hypocrisy of lawmakers who claim to stand in solidarity with marginalized communities. That's another thing they don't do. The tactic of a boycott is essential for these communities and their allies to resist oppression, and has been critical in ending human rights abuses from segregation in the Jim Crow South to apartheid in South Africa. That's how it was once used positively. The constitutionally protected right to boycott in pursuit of social justice belongs to all the people. I want to read that again. The constitutionally protected right to boycott. You censor my right to boycott, you censor my speech. That is fascism. In pursuit of social justice belongs to all the people, including those advocating for the human rights of the Palestinians. We are deeply dismayed that the global climate of repression, lawmakers have chosen to silence dissent rather than double their efforts to protect it. Okay? It is it is a particular disgrace that 77 members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus voted to support a resolution to chill constitutionally protected speech, which demonstrates a dangerous degree of political incoherence. Fam, this is the vote. This is the resolution 246 opposing the efforts to delegitimize the state of Israel. So in other words, they said if you allow a BDS movement to take place, it's anti-Semitic, and we're going to stop it. And there he is, congressional member, and your new Speaker of the House, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Johnson. He's right there, fam. I'm going to remove that. You go ahead. Put the other one up. Let's listen to him at the Republican Jewish Conference, the Leadership Committee, fam, in Vegas over the weekends.
Steve Scalise mentioned that my first act as the Speaker was to bring the resolution to make formal and official in the congressional record our resolve to stand with Israel and against the barbarism of Hamas and all of its accomplices. But I want you to know, yeah, it's not an accident that the first resolution was for Israel and my first trip was to come and be with you. I want everybody to know where we stand. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I hope they hear this around the world. I hope they know where we stand. There's no ambiguity about this. Jewish students today are no longer feeling safe on their college campuses, where liberal administrators are actively supporting and promoting and protecting organizations which are solely dedicated to anti-Israel propaganda. But we must not only call out these anti-Semitic attacks, we must act. So as Steve mentioned, in the week ahead, House Republicans will work swiftly to pass legislation to provide Israel much needed resources in their fight against these barbaric terrorists. We will stand with Israel strongly. And I want to echo another message that may have been shared here over the day. This message is to the UN. There will be a ceasefire only when Hamas ceases to be a threat to Israel.
Pause. So that is really fucking telling right there, fam, right? That's saying that there's going to be no ceasefire, that they're going to continue to, I mean, first of all, this is some really hoodwinking, ladies and gentlemen. We really need to wake up. What they're saying right there is they're going to continue to bomb civilians no matter what. They don't care. They don't care that they're bombing civilians and then killing children on a regular basis, that they're going to go forth with their bloodthirsty quest, right, for dominance and control of the region and getting these Palestinians out of there. And the United States is not only okay with it, they're greenlighting it, and they're going to provide the weaponry to do so. This is your speaker right now. This is ridiculous. It needs to fucking stop. We need to start showing up at these people's faces. What Dan Kovalek did, and we talked about it on the Jimmy Dore show yesterday, what Dan Kovalek did was great. And that's the way I'm going to approach things, right? I mean, I might not do the Jose Vega style, which I love what they're doing, but Dan tried to reason with Fetterman. I know you're a good guy. I voted for you. I believe you have a good heart. Will you please, for the love of God, call for a ceasefire? Call for the goddamn, we need a cease goddamn fire. First things first, before anything. Stop the goddamn bombing. Let's continue.
Israel and the U.S. enjoy an unbreakable bond that's forged over decades, of course, of bilateral assistance. And there are lots of reasons that we do that. They are obviously our greatest ally in the Middle East, and clearly they are one of our most important friends. Kelly and I have so enjoyed our own trips to Israel. Most recently, we went with our dear friends, Congressman Jim Jordan and his wife, Polly. On that trip, yeah, Jim Jordan always gets a shout. That's right. He's known everywhere. We were walking down the streets of Jerusalem, and people are coming up, Jim Jordan, selfies. I'm like, really? Hero.
Zionist.
And at that time, they said, hey, will you take our picture? I was the photographer. Seriously. This morning, Prime Minister Netanyahu said unequivocally, this is his quote, "This is our second war of liberation. We're going to fight and it will be the good over evil, light over darkness. Last night I spoke with him on the telephone.
Can you stop for a second?
Called me, and I used those very words myself. I said,
"Pause." Yeah.
Oh, he's literally using this actual race-baiting language to give accolades to Netanyahu, light over dark, blah blah blah. The way Netanyahu did this was actually, I put up a tweet about it. Hitler gave several speeches in which he referred to the Jews in the same way that Netanyahu is referring to Palestinians. It is actually eerily similar. And so this idiot is giving him accolades for that speech and repeating it. But also, fam, I just want to mention, he's literally repeating the same slogan in all of the media and all of these political idiots and all of these pundits. Jewish people don't feel safe anymore. This is the line, right? Remember when it was Ukraine, it was like, oh, Ukraine is being invaded by the fascist evil dictatorship of Vladimir Putin, and we stand with Ukraine. Now it's like Jewish people don't feel safe. They are literally among some of the safest people in the US, and this is literally said by people who are of Jewish descent. But they just keep repeating the same exact line until people repeat it themselves, and then it somehow sticks. But I think the problem here is they're losing this war, because as he's making jokes and making light of how he's going to Israel with his colleague, who's another Zionist warmonger, people are being murdered and killed. Children and women especially are being killed by the thousands, and he's over here making jokes and cracking jokes at how Netanyahu's cute words. Netanyahu is like the demon. He's like evil, and you're praising him right now while giving billions of dollars. And he said it. Israel is a very important ally, right? Yeah, that's the only reason Israel is important, because of what they can do for the United States in the Middle East. That's it. That's the only reason you or we, or the United States, cares about Israel.
Yeah. Well, let's get to the next video. It's enough for this one because I don't want to stay with it too long, because it's more of the both same thing. You know, This is the Republican Jewish conference leadership committee in Vegas over the weekend. Now let's get to the next video where do you have the one ready with him on Fox? Because I just want to show a little bit about he has called to have separate voting, up and down voting when it comes to funding Israel and Ukraine. He can read the room enough to understand that, you know, Biden's polling numbers have dropped because the majority of that bill that Biden was sending over was going to Ukraine. He was still trying to find that, and people looked at him as using Israel as cover to get money to Ukraine. I'm pretty sure they're cool with the money to the border in Taiwan, but they're not willing to get 70% of that money, 60% of that money, just under 60% of that money to go to Ukraine. But listen to the rhetoric, fam. He's still there when it comes to the neoconservative, pro-war, anti-Russian, and he's lumping in now the language of calling China and Russia part of the axis of evil that all these people are talking about right now. Is just really ridiculous. Go ahead and play it.
Now, we can't allow Vladimir Putin to prevail in Ukraine because I don't believe it would stop there, and it would probably encourage and empower China to perhaps make a move on Taiwan. We have these concerns. We're not going to abandon them. We want to be cooperative. We need to work together on this, but we owe it to the people to know what the plan is, where the money is going to be spent, and we need some auditing for the dollars that we've already sent over there. These are not tough questions.
See, that's the way he's using coverage to say that, okay, what's going on is not that it's not that we don't approve of the actions that are taking place, is that we just don't think the money's being spent wisely, so we're going to stop it, right? He's using that. He's still leaning on the side of a neocon that thinks that Vladimir Putin is actually trying to expand the old school style Soviet Union. It's laughable of sorts. He isn't that much different than the others. It's just that, you know, and this is why a lot of people thought, because he voted against the last two funding bills when it came to Ukraine, they're like, oh, maybe he's done with this war too as well. No, he's still there with the neocon mentality. It's just that the money hasn't been spent right properly. It hasn't been audited, and it's gone to other places. And they've also tied some of this, Russia's been taking some of the weapons that they've taken from the United States, and they've captured from the United States that were trying to go to the Ukrainians and sold it to Hamas. Like, they're trying to spin that shit over there. And that sentiment's going into play. I even saw an AP article that said that Hamas got some weapons from North Korea. So he is still very much a neocon. He is not anti-war at all. At all. You know, there's talk that some of the populist right is anti-war. No, they've shown their full ass faces, and this is what this is about. Let's play a little bit more of this, and then we'll get on to the next section.
That's right. One thing that House Republicans are resolved on is that we must stand with our most important ally in the Middle East, and that's Israel. We will. We certainly hope that it doesn't come to boots on the ground. If it comes to that, and we communicated this to the White House staff as
hopes, fam.
What?
Cross my fingers. Hopesies.
Too late. Go ahead.
well today that, we have the Article 1 power in the legislative branch of government, and they have Article 2. They have very limited authority on what they can do to respond without coming to Congress to seek consent. And even my Democrat colleagues, Sean, that are in committees of jurisdiction understand this in the Foreign Affairs Committee.
And you've had comments made by the leaders of Iran that they themselves may get involved in a conflict. If that happens, correct me if you think I'm wrong, I would say all bets are off in the Middle East. We could have a full-out war in the Middle East, Israel at the center of it. And at that point, if Israel's existence is put in jeopardy, I don't think Prime Minister Netanyahu, who I've known for almost 30 years, I don't think there's anything he won't do to preserve and protect his country from people that have committed their lives.
Is this not disgusting, the way he is just selling this war?
Mm-hmm.
The way he's just like, oh my God, if Israel's existence is that thing, we're going to have, it's all bets are off the table. All hell's going to break loose. We got to get involved. Iran is even saying stuff. I mean, this guy's not a news guy. He's a war propagandist. He's been wrong about so many wars, and he's still on the fucking air. He's still on the goddamn air. And did you hear Kamala Harris's message to Iran? Don't
get out.
Don't.
Or don't. It's hard to remember.
Don't.
I'm sure they're scared.
And the serious news guys, just like President Biden, you're saying just one word. It's that simple. Don't. Jamie, see if you can find that don't real quick, and we'll finish up the rest of this video.
Yeah, let's play this.
That's to destroy it.
He has to do that. And around here, people throw around the phrase existential threat. They have an existential threat every day. I mean, their neighbors want to eliminate them and wipe them off the map. So Prime Minister Netanyahu is resolved. I've spent time with him personally. I know him as well. I think he's a strong leader at this important time, and I think he's going to do what is necessary. And America will back him up. I mean, they tell us when we're in Israel, and you've been there, they say the reason that we are able to sustain ourselves and survive is because everyone knows that our big ally is America. We know that Iran is directly tied to all this. These are Hamas and Hezbollah are proxies of Iran, and they're tied in now with Russia and China. I mean, it is a new axis of evil. That's how we see it, and so it has to be addressed accordingly.
If Israel, with all the funding of terror and all these terror organizations, are they within their right to fight back and go directly at Iran?
Of course, that was the first, as you noted, the first act of my speakership is that we passed the resolution to articulate
World War III. Green light.
That, make it very clear where we stand. The House is back in business, and we're going to stand with Israel.
We're going to stand with Israel means we're going to stand with World War III, as Pasta just said. I mean, Iran is involved because Iran, just like Syria, just like all of the Palestinian resistance, Yemen has already sent missiles against Israel. In spite, they're literally like the only population that's like literally suffering from a humanitarian crisis, and they're willing. And guess what? Even Saudi Arabia has been lashing out at Israel. Turkey, freaking Erdogan has closed embassies. I mean, this isn't just like a normal like little situation here. Of course, they're not the axis of evil. The United States and its allies have done, their actions themselves have caused these people to come together, to get closer. They have caused China and Russia to embrace their closeness and their relationship. They have caused Russia to reach out to the East because of the sanctions. They have caused the Arab nations to have this pan-Arabism that's emerging because they fucked all of them over. So yeah, is it the axis of evil, or is it the axis of people that have been screwed over by the United States, Israel, and the entirety of NATO? It's the axis that they helped create because they have screwed with so many of these people for so long. So of course they're gonna unite. And at this point, China and Russia are still being neutral, like I said in the beginning of the show. But there's going to come a point when they're not, because they're not going to take
money
the side of the
funding for
United
Taiwan.
States.
Yeah, and the speaker's talking about that's going to really set stuff off. Fam, our great vice president though has a message. Go ahead.
Oh God.
Make it big first.
What's the message to Iran?
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly. One word. Pretty straightforward.
Kosha, is that a...
Go one more time. One more time. One more time. One more time, please.
I can't take this seriously. I cannot right now.
Dude, look at her face. Dude, look at her face. Volume's all the way up.
Message to Iran.
Don't.
As President Biden said, just don't.
Exactly.
Look at the
One
report.
word.
Oh my God.
Pretty straightforward.
Kosha, is that a compelling and powerful message?
Look at her face.
No, I will say that, very short speeches have been some of the most iconic in history. Winston Churchill, in his first address, comes to mind when he was asked, what is the aim? And he says, one word, victory. Ronald Reagan, tearing down this wall, that was 5 words in the iconic 1987 speech.
All right, Jamie, you can stop that.
This is
I'm sorry. I think Winston Churchill is rolling in his grave right now. I think to be compared with Kamala Harris, and I don't like the guy, but the guy is rolling in his grave here. How dare you compare her to Winston Churchill?
Don't.
Don't. I'm sure Iran is shaking in their boots, right?
All right, Jamie, go ahead. Start it from the beginning. I'm gonna stop it. Stop it. Start it from the beginning. If you want to play it, go ahead, play your thing.
Do not come. Do not come.
I'm gonna come.
Yes!
What the hell?
Jamie's a goofball. Because she once said, do not come. That was her message.